Hey, what's up, YouTube? BOTCG here. I've been fiddling with this thing for like the past half hour now, trying to get the lighting right, trying to get the camera angles right. So, this is attempt number one. So hopefully this doesn't look too weird. I wanted to go over Varga RAKSHASA as like my first kind of like intro into the set 5 meta. I believe this deck is I don't believe it's the best deck in format, but I believe it's one of the most important decks in format. To whereas if you really do want to compete, if you can't deal with Rakshasa like board wiping you every turn, then you're not really gonna be able to compete with you're not gonna be able to have a foot to stand on basically if you're just hoping you don't run into the Rakshasa matchup. But because of what we're running in our main deck, we're playing this over the Varga grade 1 of the original ride line. I originally wanted to play that, but because we're running some of the new cards to help boost our consistency, this is just way better in terms of just getting our ride line cards out of Soul. But moving on to the main deck, we're going to go over the Varga cards first. 4 copies of Varga RAKSHASA, 4 Twinpulsive, 4 Shunra, or Shura, 4 Rasuke. I know this is like getting really expensive right now, which is kind of like, it's kind of unfortunate because I think the Rakshasa deck, even though it is a very simple deck, it's very cool in what it's trying to how it plays, when it's trying to do. If you're an OG, it kind of reminds me of the Rebirth in Break Ride format. That play style, that's what Rakshasa reminds me of, which I find is very interesting play style. But it really just sucks that this is just so expensive right now. It's kind of like just pricing people out of the deck, because ideally you do want to stop your opponents from intercepting. You're just cutting them off from that unit completely because you're just going to board wipe. 4 copies of Impalehorn, playing 3 main deck copies of Boulder Axe Dragon, and then I'm playing 2 copies of Storm Slash Dragon. I'm only playing 2 because I really only have space for 2. The rest of the deck is just to help boost consistency of trying to see your Rakshasa. That's kind of like the reason why we built this deck in this way, because technically on your first grade 3 turn, the extra Boulder Axes, the Risukes, and your Impalehorns can help you see your Rakshasas. Also, your Boulder Axe from your ride line can help you see Rakshasas, because that's a draw 1, so that's a dig 1 towards getting your Rakshasa. Because you really do want to get your Rakshasa on turn 4, since we're not running extra Persona Rides as backup, because this deck does really want to Persona Ride. But that's just our Varga / Rakshasa engine of the deck. Moving on into our non-engine, just trying to boost our consistency of singing our Rakshasa, is 4 copies of Summit Flare Dragon. This is one of the new ride line remover cards. I'm not sure if that's a good way of putting it, but basically you can only play these if you don't have any cards in your G-Zone. You discard it from hand. It's an act ability. Put 2 cards from your either soul or drop zone that were in your ride line back into your ride line. And it's a top 7 search for a grade 3 or greater unit card. Or no, just card. Grade 3 or greater card with a different card name than your current Vanguard. So, oh, you know what? Oh, you do have to be grade 3 to use it. Okay. So basically, we're only gonna really get this off once / twice, which is really good that this has, it's a 10k shield. Unless you're fighting against a stride deck, then these become 20k shields. But it's a 10k shield no matter what, so that's really good for the fact that you're realistically only going to get this effect off twice, and you do have a secondary target in your Twinpulsive. So this also is a good bridge into your, outside of searching for your Rakshasa as like your ideal turn 4 ride target. This is a good bridge into your main deck, because this can also help you get your Twinpulsive Dragon from deck as well. And the last card we're running in our deck is Radiance Caliburn. The Varga archetype still doesn't have a countercharger, and it does want to do big explosive counterblast plays, so it's really good for that. And again, the draw 2 is really good in terms of this is going to help you see your Rakshasa. Like, Rakshasa is the whole deck. What's really cool about this deck now is like, even if you do get counterblast denied, or you just run out of CB, Rakshasas, the first effect of Rakshasa, as long as it's in the Malworm state, when you swing with it, it's going to get that 10k and wipe the front row regardless. So I just thought that was really cool. I know we're not running that one grade 3 for Varga, that it doesn't retire if it's the only copy in the front row, and it's also a 13k booster and a 23k attacker. That would be good in this deck. If you want to, you can cut one of the Storm Slash Dragons for it. I wouldn't play more than one, but I just don't want to run more grade 3s than what I'm already running, especially since this deck outside of the Summit Dragons doesn't have that much shield value to begin with. But moving on to the rest of the deck, 3 DPGs, 1 Blitz Order PG. This is for obviously your G decks, and it is also for triple drive decks and guard restrict. So it's really good against those cases. Well, guard restrict that outside of Blankmire. For our Overtrigger, I'm running the red Overtrigger in this one. The red Overtrigger I think is really cool in the fact that like you could do if you check it, you could do weird combos with Twimpulsive / Shrina, to whereas you can either call out a Twimpulsive app, like if you check this if you check this like during, like after you wipe the board, you can basically call a Twimpulsive from your hand and get 2 more attacks, because Twimpulsive's on place ability doesn't say during main phase only. Or you could give the restand ability to a resurrected Shrina. So I think it has really cool applications in this deck, and it's technically never dead. So that's why we're running the red Overtrigger. Draw triggers, just because this deck is still very piece reliant, and it's very important that you do see your key pieces like your Rakshasa. I know I'm gonna say it a million times that this deck doesn't do anything. Well, not that it doesn't do anything, but your power level is just severely capped if you never get to your Rakshasa. Because never getting to Rakshasa means you never get to Persona Red. And then 4 into soul crits, 4 regular crits, and then 4 regular heal triggers. I'm still not a believer of the effect heals, even though there are quite a few decks right now that do have restand and do they do restand and they do gain crit. There's also quite a few decks in the format that just do none of those things, and they're essentially dead cards. And that's the reason why I'm just, unless we get into a very like tier 1 dependent or like borderline tier 0 format where we have one deck that specifically does that thing, then I feel like those cards will see play, but I don't think they're gonna see play anytime soon, in my personal opinion. But yeah, I don't. It's weird because I never after like Varga's first initial wave of support, it felt pretty oppressive. The fact that it kept wiping the board and like swinging at you like 2 to 3 times with its Vanguard, but then like everything else caught up in terms of power level, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Varga's not like that bad of a boogeyman anymore, in my personal opinion. But now that it has just basically like, it's gonna wipe your board every turn, it's gonna be very difficult for certain decks to be able to compete in this format if they run into Varga. Like, you could just turn your blinders on and be like, okay, I'm gonna have a good matchup against everything else, but if I run into Varga, I run into Varga because I need my board and I don't have a good consistent way of building board. I think that's why certain decks in this set got like board building tools or like deck searcher tools to like make Rakshasa in this format be okay. Like the top decks in Levy Dress and Raziel build board from drop zone, build board from the top of deck very easily, and that's why I think Rakshasa is not the top dog in terms of meta contender of this format. But let me know what you guys think about it down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. I just wanted to get this deck profile out before anything else, because I do believe this is a very important deck profile to have, because this is a very key player in terms of our set 5 DZ set 5 metagame. Anyways, guys, later.